Good evening everyone, a cold evening. Gitugnaw ba ang tanan? Or nakikakadol or charot. So, good evening everyone. My name is Chandra Layson Canales and we're gonna talk all about chapter 5, which is human flourishing as reflected in progress and development. Now let's talk about human flourishing. When we say human flourishing, it is a state of living well, realizing one's potential, and experiencing overall well-being. It encompassing physical, mental, social, and spiritual health. So when we say human flourishing, it refers to the state of thriving, fulfillment, and living well that individuals and societies aspire to achieve. Expressing joy, contentment, and fulfillment in life. It's like having good physical health and positive mental well-being. For example, someone who loves their job and feels fulfilled by the work they do. So that person is have this state of human flourishing. So that's human flourishing. Okay? So human flourishing can be reflected as progress and development, not by how fast we can consume, but how well we can use and manage our planet resources as we achieve progress and development. So this perspective emphasizes that human flourishing shouldn't be measured solely by economic growth or consumption, but rather by our ability to use and manage resources sustainably. Okay, and so in order for that, we should be responsible resource management. First is responsible resource management, sustainable development, and holistic well-being. So when you say responsible resource management, it ensuring that natural resources are used efficiently and sustainably to meet the needs of both current and future generations. That's the responsible resource management. And when we say sustainable development, it's like pursuing economic and social development in a way that balances human needs with environmental protection and social equity. And last, we say holistic well-being. It's like focusing on the well-being of both people and the planet. So recognizing that human flourishing is deeply connected to the health of the environment. So how do we know that we are progressing? What are the indicators of development? So we can see all around us are many infrastructure were built and more technology exists. These are indicators that humans are also progressing, because progressing is start to ourselves before it reflects in our society. So more often than not, development is equated with growth and greater consumption. So the more that the population is able to consume, the wealthier it is. But yes, it's true that development is equated with growth and greater consumption. But likewise, the more that a person is able to buy, the higher he or she is on the development scale. But the planet, however, is already overburdened with human activities. So it is time that we people rethink our standards of development if we truly want to live a good life. So according to Jason Hickel, so if you don't know, Jason Hickel is an anthropologist at the London School of Economics. So Jason Hickel said that forget developing poor countries. It's time to de-develop rich countries. So he challenges us to rethink and reflect on a different paradigm of de-development. So the statement of Jason Hickel implied that rich countries having already achieved a high level of economic development, because they are rich countries, they achieved, they consume, they overconsume. And so the rich countries should focus on reducing their consumption, waste, and environmental impact rather than continuing to pursue further economic growth. So the concept of de-development, which is a paradigm of de-development that Jason Hickel challenged us to rethink, is that it encouraged us to question traditional notions of progress and growth. So when you say traditional notions of progress and growth, it's like before, the traditional, if the first is economic growth is key. For example, they measuring progress by through GDP or gross domestic product and economic indicators. So if the country is progress through gross domestic product, they are rich, or they are progressing, they are growing. That's the traditional growth before. They will measure it through gross domestic product. And also, more is better. The traditional growth, they believe that the traditional notion of growth is that they believe in more is better. What do you mean by that? It's like assuming that more consumption, production, and growth automatically lead to better lives. It's like if the country is consuming more and more, then the country is living well, or the country is progressing, is growing. That's the traditional notion of growth before. And also, material wealth matters most in the traditional notion. Okay, material wealth matters most. It's like prioritizing material wealth and consumption over other aspects of well-being. It's like they want more materials, because when people manggod, if they have materials na daghan, it's like they're rich, they're progressing, they're growing. That's the traditional notion. But that traditional notion often overlook the important factors, which is the environmental impact and the social equity. First, the environmental impact. So, because they want more, they overconsume, they're consuming more and more. The environmental impact, what's the impact in our environment? The global warming, the climate change, because dili makasustain gyud ang planet sa gusto sa tanan. So in order for that, rich countries should go down, and yeah, that's it. Also social equity. And social equity, because rich countries want more, the poor countries is magstay sa sila, so dili na pantay, no? Ma-overconsume ang rich countries, ang poor countries mahabilin. So according to economist Peter Edward, instead of pushing poor countries to catch up with rich ones, we should think to get rich countries to catch down to more appropriate level of development. What do you mean by that? So Peter Edward said that we should focus on reducing overconsumption and waste in rich countries to achieve a more equitable distribution of resources. So, para magkapantay-pantay. That's economist Peter Edward believe na dapat pantay ang pag-consume every country. No, dili mag-iya, right? And recognizing that current level of consumption in rich countries is unsustainable, and that poor countries can't replicate this model without harming the planet. So if ipakatch up nato ang poor countries nga mutupong sa rich countries, so maparihag yapon sila sa rich countries nga maka-harm sa planet. So in order for that, nga dili ma-harm ang planet, nga equal yapon distribution, dili ipakatch up ang poor countries, but rather ang rich countries may mo-catch down nga consumer sila o sakto o pantay sa poorer countries. And that's what economist Peter Edward said. So, and also Peter Edward's idea is supported by research showing that the global economy has grown significantly, but the number of people living in poverty has increased, and the planet's resources resources are being overshot by over 50% each year. So what should we do, humans? We should help rich countries to slow down, to catch down on a appropriate level of development nga dili sila mo overconsume, nga mapantay ra o maalagaan po ang planet. It's like hitting two birds in one stone. So let's talk about the sustainable development goals. When you say sustainable or SDGs, it's like this SDG is the new ning SDGs sa United Nations, wherein gibuhat ni nila adto sa New York. And this SDGs or Sustainable Development Goals is their goals. They're really objective. Their objective is to eradicate poverty by 2030. That's the main goal or the main objective of SDGs or Sustainable Development Goals. So let's talk about there are 17 SDGs or Sustainable Development Goals. So first goal is no poverty. Second is zero hunger. Third is good health and well-being. Fourth, quality education. Fifth, gender equality. Six, clean water and sanitation. Seven, affordable and clean energy. Eight, decent work and economic growth. Nine is industry, innovation and infrastructure. 10, reduce inequalities. 11, sustainable cities and communities. 12, responsible consumption and production. 13 is climate action. 14, life below water. 15, life on land. 16, peace, justice and strong institutions. 17, partnerships for the goals. So this, you as a student, you as a human being, you need to know this 17 goals, especially the mga college students, because gamit kini siya pati sa research. This goals, which is the SDGs. And also, for example, katong pag meeting the advances FSTLP, one of the students asked the governor who ran as the president of the FSTLP kung what is unsa nga research ang nakakonect sa SDGs nila. Okay, you as a researcher dapat connected kuno ang imong research sa SDGs or unsa man imong goal sa kana nga research, no? So dapat makita ko na sa SDGs mao kuno na ang ganun. So you as students dapat kibaw jud ka this 17 goals or the sustainable development goals para makahibaw jud ka what are the problems or unsa man imong ganahan ang buhaton na makatabang sad ka sa atong environment, society, and planet. And also, so we should, we students, we human beings should think of a possible way na para maprotektahan nato ang planet and our society and our environment, no? Because kanang if aton padayunon, we don't know what will happen in a future generation kung sige ta ma-overconsume ta. So either we slow down voluntarily or climate change will do it for us. So we can't go on ignoring the law of nature. If we do not act soon, our hard-won gains against poverty will evaporate as food system collapse and mass famine re-emerges to an extent not seen since the 19th century. So we should look for something good. Just sayo pa. We should do something dili ma-harm ang atong planet. We should help. We should look for something na dili ta ma-overconsume, dili ta maka-hurt. This is not about giving anything up. and it's certainly not about living a life of voluntary misery or composing harsh limits on human potential. On the contrary, it's about reaching a higher level of understanding and consciousness about what we're doing here and why. So, yes, we want growth. We want to grow. We want progress because we humans want progress. We're growing. We're progressing. That's what we want. But also, we should think carefully. We should think critically on kung kana ba nga progress nga atong gibuhat is helpful ba pud sa tanan or sa atong even sa atong environment or sa atong planet. Then if not, then stop. So we should want a progress, a growing, a growth that is helping not just us but also our environment, our planet. So that's what we want. That's our planet need. No, dili kay gananta mo progress, gananta mo grow, then bisan maka-harm na ta, wala tay paki basta mo grow lang ta. No, it's not like that. We should think critically, hypothetically. We should think more. We should think nga dili maka-harm sa atong self, sa atong environment, ug sa tanan, sa atong country as well. Okay? Okay. Okay, pabata-tanan diri, laban pa. If you guys still listening, nanatay next, which is the Magician's Twin by The Magician's Twin. Okay, if nakakita mo sa video sa The Magician's Twin, which is the scientism, makibaw mo kung what is scientism, what is science, and what C.S. Lewis believed and stand. So now I will post the link sa The Magician's Twin here in the comment section and watch it. Okay. So now let's talk about The Magician's Twin. So now let's talk about The Magician's Twin, which is it is The Magician's Twin, which is C.S. Lewis and the Case Against Scientism. So according to the video that I've watched, which is The Magician's Twin, it was about C.S. Lewis' intense interest into the power of scientism. So science explains, control every part of human life. So for C.S. Lewis, science was a perfectly legitimate enterprise. Yes, science is very interesting. I really believe in that. It will make you to do more. So most people think of science as a modern because science is still you think it is a modern. But to C.S. Lewis compared science into something ancient. No? Because science is a modern, so C.S. Lewis compared it into ancient, which is what is it? The magic. So he even highlighted three different ways that shows the similarities of science and magic. So in the statement, the new oligarchy must increasingly rely on the advice of scientists till in the end the politicians become merely the scientists' puppet. Because of the politicians' desire to control the world, politicians willingly cooperated with the scientists to have the power that they want. No? So now let's talk about the three unusual comparison. Although most people think it's a modern, no, Lewis compared it to something ancient with magic. So Lewis thought that science and magic are twins. So he highlighted three different ways that science and magic really are quite similar. So first is science as religion. So first is C.S. Lewis, science is a part of religion. So he believes that scientific statements, because they are clear and reliable, people back then believed that science is a religion, so that there is no God, that science is our savior. No, because everything connects to science there's an explanation, there's a research, there's a fact, there's a theory, or they believed in science because naman siya mga facts na siya, mga evidences na mapakita. No, that's why they believe that there is no God, because everything has an explanation. Everything is a science, they believe in that. So they believe that only science can save us. So in London, 90%, imagine 90% of them are atheists. They don't believe in God. They just believe in science because science can explain, science will give evidences. So they don't believe in God. 90%, imagine 90% in London. So Darwin made them believe that there is no God. No, because Darwin proposed, or the theory, he is the one who proposed the theory of evolution. No, so Darwin made them believe that there's no God. So they believe more in Darwin than the one who nailed to the cross. No, so that's they've nailed to the cross. So scientism almost blind the faith because of the ability of science. No, so dili na sila mo believe. No? They don't believe in God anymore because there is science, there's explanation, there's an evidences. So some of people right now are atheists because they don't believe in God anymore. So that's one of C.S. Lewis highlighted, which is a science as a religion. And scientism almost blind the faith because of the ability of science. So science is just one of the effects of religion's perspective. Religion is everywhere, and if it affects everyone's aspects of life. So second is science as credulity. When you say credulity, if anything that dressed in science, people believe in that now because the dress is science. So C.S. Lewis observed that most of the time people easily believe something if the claim is in the name of science. If it is from science, the people believe in that. So that's the second one, which is science is credulity. No explanation needed, they will believe. No explanation needed, they will believe it as long as it is based on science. So they will believe it with no doubt. That's he also highlighted, which is science as credulity. Now, the third one, which is he highlighted, which is the third one is science as power. No, science kuno is very powerful. Do you believe in that? Maybe some. I also believe that science is powerful because, for example, COVID-19, they use science para makabuhat of vaccines in order for us, no, na mabakunahan, nga maprotektahan ta about sa COVID-19. So, really, science is very powerful. But science becomes the dictator of the world na, no? They want to have this power, to have the power to control the world, no? Science was actually devoted towards the power over the world. According to the people in 20th century, they hope that science would show in a new age of peace and prosperity. They want science to be their peace. Modern science brings good things, from microwave, from computer, from medicines that saves our life, like for COVID-19. Imong phone gigamit ron, your laptops, no, anything makano is connected to science. No, science really is powerful, no? But we should limit it by doing it, by using it good. Because Lewis believed that modern science was more dangerous than magic. Because magic doesn't work. Example, doesn't work good if doesn't work good every day, magic. But science does, right? Science is working every day. Everything that nakita nato, it's coming from science. And modern science has the power to control the world, that every part of human life. Lewis thought that science is really good, but you need to limit it. You need to limit the use of science na dili siya overpower. Okay, so because we people have our own views. If they believe this, then it is. We can force people to believe what we believe. Let them reflect on their own beliefs so they will learn on their own. Set limits on what we always do because too much is bad, right? It can cause abuse that leads to dangers. I agree in how science and technology control our lives slowly by slowly. Yes, every time that science and technology really control us. Nowadays, science and technology have a big impact to us. Now, we can no longer live without relying on them. Dili na ta makalive before tay cellphone. 2 hours na tadi ka use with cellphone, mangita na ta, di ba? So, really, science and technology control us. And everything we do is connected with science and technology. We are attached to it because it makes our life more easier. Yes, it's true. Dili na ta maghaling. Dili na ta manguha og kahoy because science helps us. Dili na ta wato pag library, mag-search pa to by book because nanatay gadgets, which is science also helps us, right? But because of too much using of it, that we forgot to put limit on it, it affected our society. We become too addictive in using it that we didn't notice that it is already affecting our mental and physical health. And also, I just want to say that C.S. Lewis is not an anti-science. Okay, he thought science is good. He just believed that science is good. He just contradicting. He's just questioning about the scientism. What is scientism? And also, so we thought that science was a good thing, but he also thought that it held some really strong dangers. The biggest danger really was the attempt to control. It can control us if padayunin siya nato. Maybe they can erase humanity in the future generations, in the coming years, if we don't use it critically. We use it. So, says Lewis, hope that scientists themselves would find a way to rescue science from scientism, creating a regenerate science that respected human rights and honored human dignity. So I guess that's all for my report, which is the human flourishing as reflected in progress and development and the scientism. So again, I am Shangrelason Canales and goodbye.